Okay, so we are back with Blender. So yeah, like I said, I was going to show you some Blender kit, how this works, and how we'll be using it to texture objects. So let's say take this sphere for a second. One thing you're going to notice about a lot of these objects is that you can still see the geometry, and by that I mean like the squares for the polygons. If you want to get rid of that, you can right click and click on Shade Smooth. And what that will do is that will allow you to get a smoother shade for the object. So I'm just going to go around and I'm going to do that for these objects that are like sort of rounded. You can even do that for the cylinder, but what you're going to see is you're going to get something different. Now you're going to get these weird edges. So to fix that, you can click on this data tab right here. You can click on normals, and then you can click on auto smooth. So now you get a nice smooth um, clean edge to the object. So I can do that as well with cone and auto smooth, and there you go, you get a nice cone. And I'm going to try this with the monkey auto smooth. It's not as clean, um, so you can change the um, angle. So there's a slider for the angle here. I've changed it to about 40. But if you don't like that, you can just take a photo smooth. You can click on modifiers, add modifier, and add a subdivision surface for the monkey as well. You can still do that with the rest of the objects, but it's a good way to sort of get a subdivided look without having to increase the amount of polygons you get. So like I said earlier, we're going to go through how to texture these things. So in Blender Kit, you've got different fine models, you've got printable models, so you can actually use this to download some models, but I'm going to go to find materials, which is the greatest part about this tool, in my opinion. And you can literally just go and click any material that you want. So if I want this sphere to have like a wooden texture, I just click on wood. Click on pick a wood texture, and there you go. So now what you're going to notice, if you've still got this shader editor open, always find it easier to work with shader editor. You see these different procedural node groups. Now these are quite complicated and it's not necessarily um, a beginner um, part of this tutorial, but I'll just give it a go to see how you guys get on with this. All I'm doing is click and dragging on the X axis for the scale UV and all the way down to Z. I'm just going to click and drag it up so you can scale up the texture for the wood. So now that's too high, so I can scale it to the left and scale it down all the way to 1.4. There you go. You can sort of see a lot more of the detail in that wood texture as well. So if I wanted to, again, I can just add a modifier, subdivision surface, sort of round out that sphere. And there you go. We've got like a nice wooden ball. Looks kind of realistic with all the cool texture properties. And it's why I think Blender Kit is such a powerful tool. So you can also go and let's say I want grass for this one. In later days, we're going to go through how to actually make some of these procedural materials. I just select grass for this tool. And if I just click on view, frame selected, even in the shader editor right here, it's all very complicated looking, but it's just basically how you would set up a texture for, just like we did earlier with the painting the texture. This is using actual texture images of grass and using it to render out some grass. So you can also click on the monkey and do glass for the monkey. Let's click on this one. That's pretty cool. You get a nice transparent glass looking monkey there. And I think if I play with a color ramp, I can control the amount of specular in the glass. Specular is basically the amount of reflection you get on the glass. If I go to Chrome for this one, I select like a Chrome one, or maybe this Chrome. I like this Chrome better. It loads it in pretty quickly. Okay, yeah. So if you have a problem where it's not loading the second one, you can click on Material, and you can just delete the original one. And let me just add that new Chrome material. I'm going to click on this one and select rubber. So this is not not necessarily how easy it is to create textures. This isn't creating textures. This is just checking out this cool Blender Kit tool, which I think is very useful for just having access to these textures. And in a later tutorial, we'll go through how to actually make one of these textures. For this one, I'm just going to go to leather. And then you can just take your pick really of what one you like. I'm just going to go for this black leather here. Actually, no, maybe I should go for brown. Somewhere there'll be a cool brown leather texture. Maybe this one looks pretty good. I'm going to delete that. I think this one's better. Okay. And you can also see the creators here, so I'm not really shouting out to the creators, but YYD3D made a really cool leather texture there. And then this one, I'm just going to go for clay for the cube. So let's just go for clay. And we're going to have just a nice clay cube here to finish this off. So this is just basically some of the strengths of Blender 4.0. You get some really good lighting, some really good textures as well. All of this for free, and all of this just good to have a chance to like play around with and look at some of the capabilities of Blender as you're starting out. So I'll recommend doing this as just an activity, just looking at some different objects, adding some lights to your scene, and seeing what kind of materials you can add with Blender Kit on that. So that's the end of this tutorial. And in the next tutorial, we'll be going over how to actually use collections, and also starting to actually make something, or using like some modeling techniques in edit mode to actually start making your own objects. So thanks for tuning into this episode, and see you in the next one.